Colin Kaepernick looks bad. I don't care what anybody says. And the reason why I say he looks bad for a couple of reasons. Number one, the amount was expected to be far more exorbitant. But as I said, to be consistent with my position from weeks ago, I don't give a damn how much money he got in the grievance. What I'm interested in knowing are the stipulations he capitulated to and he forced the NFL to capitulate to. Like, for example, are you going to get another job back in the National Football League? If you don't get another job, you know what? That means they've successfully gone about the business of blackballing you. If you were to come back to the league, did you agree that you'll stand from now on as opposed to taking a knee? The kind of issues that you swore you wanted the NFL and society to pay rapt attention to and to address, and the position that you took that you would not stop kneeling until those issues were addressed. Did the NFL give you the appropriate level of I don't want to use the word security, but did they satisfy you enough that you were saying, okay, all right, y'all are going about doing things according to what I stood for, and I'm good with that. We don't know any of these things. So all we know is the NFL had a grievance filed against them by Colin Kaepernick, collusion. We don't know if he was able to prove that. Chances were he was not. The NFL sat up there, gave him a few $1 million because people were speculating. If you remember at the time, Will, Max, people were speculating over $50 million. They were throwing out all types of numbers. It certainly was perceived as being higher than $10 million. So you got $10 million or less, and we don't know for what. We don't know what they capitulated to. We don't know what you capitulated to, which begs the question, what did you really do all of this for? And the fact that that question is still out there, devoid of concrete answers, I would say, considering that combined with the ratings that the NFL has been receiving, that the sport appears to be popular again and not distracted by these other issues, et cetera, the NFL is sitting pretty here today. Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job in the NFL. People aren't kneeling nor protesting, and they're barely even talking about the kind of issues that he wanted to bring attention to. I'd say he doesn't look good in all
Max.
of this.
I was part of these conversations with you guys when we had the story here on First Take that Colin Kaepernick had settled his collusion grievance with the NFL. In the wake of that conversation, there was all kinds of assumptions. Stephen A., you're absolutely right. You wanted to know the details. But we heard this is a win for Kaepernick. We heard that this is an admission of guilt by the NFL. Why would you settle? Why would you settle if you didn't have something? We heard there must be a smoking gun that the NFL didn't want to come out. And if this number is true, Max, and I respect that, we got to know, is the Wall Street Journal correct on this? But if it's true that it's less than $10 million, all of those assumptions were wrong. Were they not, Max?
No. And they weren't. I think, Stephen A., you have the right point. The confidentiality agreement is the troublesome part or the troubling part, because you'd like to know these things. And in that way, the NFL gets a win. But no, Will, it's not, because look at how easy it is to wag the dog. All you have to do is have something published in the Wall Street Journal that says, according to their source, Wall Street Journal didn't do anything wrong. They said, according to their source who has been briefed about the agreement.
But Max, the point is, if it's true, if the number that the Wall Street Journal is reporting is correct, don't you have to revisit all those assumptions?
You have to see it in larger scope. You have to put it in context. That is the point of this exercise. It is this easy to get people to just answer the question on a sports show, if this is true. Didn't Kaepernick lose? People especially who maybe wanted Kaepernick to lose.
My point is that's exactly what was done when we came out here and reported there was a settlement to the collusion grievance. You, in fact, Max, said it was a win for Kaepernick. Why was it okay for you to speculate at that moment, but not today when we have the Wall Street Journal reporting a number?
Because what you said at the time, what does it mean? I said that he's made millions of dollars, and he has. So even if it's $10 million, it's totally consistent with what I said at the time. And in fact, you and I got into an argument about how many millions. And this is millions of dollars. Now,
$10 million. Max, you know $10 million is a go-away wave of the hand by the NFL.
Will, you're someone who clearly was not on Team Kaepernick throughout the process, and now you're trying to frame it as a win for the NFL. And my point is, yes, it can be successfully framed that way.
Let me explain you something.
No, I'm in the middle of talking. It can be successfully.
You don't get to recharacterize what I'm saying incorrectly.
It can be successfully framed that way if you assume that the $10 million number is true. And my point is, think of how easy it is to get a win for the NFL in terms of PR here. All you have to do is have that printed in the Wall Street Journal.
Let's be clear, Max.
Go ahead.
I am not affirmatively saying that it's a win for the NFL today, because I am suggesting we have to know if the NFL's or the Wall Street Journal's reporting is true. But what I am pushing back on is the one person and much of the sports media who, in the wake of the collusion grievance settlement, said, win for Kaepernick. And you can't come out there today and go, well, it's also a win for Kaepernick, when the number is so minuscule compared to what was projected and speculated upon irresponsibly in that day.
I cannot help what people.
You said it was a win.
I cannot help what people project. I can say that in a settlement, it's going to be somewhere south of what the person could get were they to win a verdict, right? So a settlement's going to be somewhere south of that. Then the question is, if you get 3 times the loss over those 2 years, what is reasonable to project what Kaepernick would make? Kaepernick was not a surefire starter. So look at backup quarterback salaries and triple that over a 2-year period, and you get to some larger number than 10 million, but a settlement will be south of that, and 10 million sounds ballpark right under those circumstances.
Okay, just to be clear, I'm sorry, just to be clear, you're saying a settlement less than $10 million minus 30% for contingency fees for the attorneys split between Eric Reid and Colin Kaepernick is a win for Kaepernick. Just to be clear.
Wait, Kaepernick and the NFL now have to factor in the contingency for the attorneys?
Absolutely, when you're talking about how much money Kaepernick takes home. You just, because math kind of is important here, you just said about $3 to $4 million for Kaepernick's a win.
Will, what's a backup quarterback salary?
More than that.